And we're recording. Okay, gonna go ahead and close this. Hey everybody, my name is Frank. This is the PothOnProgramming video log, and today we're doing part 9 of the Stay Down devlog. First thing I want to do is give a shout out to these fine individuals on YouTube who commented about destructuring objects. So Napevation, thank you, that's awesome. And Alictal, there you go, that's a name. Didn't know about this before. I think I maybe read it in passing and was just like, whatever, I'll look at that again sometime in the future. But this is actually perfect for condensing a little bit the code that I have. So today's video is just going to be dedicated to implementing this in the files that I already have written. It's going to be a pretty short video, nothing magical taking place, but this is a cool way to destructure objects, I guess, which is exactly what it is. So let me go ahead and close this, and then we can get to work. Pretty sure I'm recording. Let me just check to see if I'm recording. Yes, okay, good. That would have been terrible. Okay, let's first go to, let's just go to the run game state. So what this is gonna look like is, up at the top here, I'm basically defining local constants for all of my nested properties inside of the stay down global object. So instead of doing it like this, which takes up, a couple lines here, and some people might like the way it looks, other people might think it looks pretty terrible. I think it looks okay, but I think this looks better. We're just gonna say const, we're gonna define an object literal, and we're gonna set it equal to stay down. And inside of here, I'm just going to define all of these things. So I'm going to define display, output, controller, engine, states, and then how this works is if you have nested properties, you actually have to kind of define it like you would be defining an object literal. So like, I want to get the item manager out of staydown.managers. So that's like a nested object within staydown, the managers object. So let's just do managers, and then inside of managers we're just going to get the item manager, and that should do that. Oh, so item manager and also platform manager. Platform manager. And then we also have constructors, so let's go to constructors. And we have game state, and we have player. Cool. So now instead of this, we have basically done the same thing. We've defined all of these as constants with destructuring. And one thing I might mention is you don't have access to these. You don't have access to constructors or managers as constants. This is just kind of telling whatever does the destructuring that we have to look for these constants we want to define inside of these nested objects inside of the stay down object. So let's go ahead and just comment this out, because don't want to just remove it, but we'll comment it out and see if we've broken anything. Save, refresh, nothing looks broken. Bring up the console and see. Alright, cool, so nothing is broken. So that's basically destructuring objects. Pretty cool. Save me some space here. I'm gonna go ahead and use it across the entire program. You guys don't have to really watch for the rest of the video because I'm basically just gonna be cleaning up some files and stuff, but stay tuned for the next episode. I saw someone commented that they want to see full screen functionality. That might be a cool thing to do. I mean, I'm playing with either doing like full screen functionality or doing like importing the graphics or loading the graphics and actually doing some graphical pixel graphics in the game. And if I don't do that, I might do the game state for start, like the start page that you see, and having options. I'm probably gonna have to do that if I want full screen anyway, because I want to come into the game on like the title screen and then be able to choose, like toggle between full screen and just like a regular canvas element in whatever page you're in. So stay tuned for the next video if you want to see that, and stay tuned for this if you want to see if anything else interesting happens. But I'm probably just going to be doing this to the rest of my files. All right, so moving on, I just want to check the bottom here to see if I passed anything as parameters, because I remember I did that for a few files. Doesn't look like it here, so I'm going to save that. I'm going to come over to the pause game state. Here's where I've done that, so I'm going to go ahead and replace this. Just say const controller engine states game state. Can't do that. Constructors game state cool equals stay down. Nice. All right, so now I can get rid of all these. I don't even necessarily think that's easier to read. Like my wall of constants that I had defined in the run game state, I found that a little bit easier to read than this. But the thing I didn't like was having to reference each one individually by saying like const x equals stay down dot constructors dot game state, and then const y equals. So like I didn't want to have to write out all this dot notation, and I feel like this is going to be the most space saving approach moving forward as I add more and more files, as I add more and more objects to the stay down global object. So this seems like it's going to be the best solution moving forward. Again, I could have done actual modules with import and export, but I chose not to do that for whatever reason. So this seems to be the best approach just to save some space. What am I doing here? I'm trying to test the pause feature. No errors. Still got pausability. Everything looks good. But this seems to be like the best space saving approach, you know, now that I'm not using modules. So, all right, so I got these two done and out of the way. So the game states folder is good. This game state, this is actually a constructor. So to keep in line with how I'm doing everything, I'm gonna go ahead and move this into the constructors folder. And that means I need to change how I'm pulling it in over here. So let's go to game state. This is gonna now be constructors slash game state. I'll move it up with the rest of these. Whatever, it can go there. Save that, refresh to make sure I don't have any errors. No, I'm good. Okay, so I still have to do all these constructors. So let's just start with game state, I guess. Nothing. I don't even import anything. Actually, constructors probably don't need a whole lot of stuff. Like here I have rectangle. I don't know, like I don't think I really even need to use destructuring here. It seems kind of stupid, but just to keep everything uniform, I think I will. So I'll do const constructors. Oh, and I'll show you that this doesn't actually define a constant called constructors inside of the code real quick. So let's do constructors, rectangle 2D, delete that, equals stay down. So I should, if I comment that out, be good. So, all right, cool. So that clearly works. Let's go ahead and test what I was just talking about. So I'm gonna do alert rectangle 2D. So I'm alerting rectangle 2D. I actually get the constructor for the rectangle 2D. Well, it's a constructor function, but I basically get the constructor for that class. So that's cool. But if I try to do constructors, which you might think would be a thing because it's here, and I save, that's going to give me an error. Cannot read, well, if I go to the very beginning, constructors is not defined is what this says here. So this is not defining anything. It's just telling the deconstructor, whatever does that in JavaScript, that you need to look for rectangle 2D inside the constructor's nested object inside of the stay down object. So that's kind of how that works. I like how I'm pointing at the screen, but you guys definitely can't see what I'm pointing at. All right, moving right along. Got to get the rest of these done. Save. Do the same thing over here. Platform takes rectangle 2D. It's almost stupid to do this. I feel like I need to like meet in the middle here. The destructuring saves space when I'm doing a lot of objects and pulling those in, but for this, I feel like this is the easier way to read this here. Whatever, we'll see. I might change it back in the future. We got rectangle 2D. This is kind of a base class, so everything extends this, but it doesn't extend anything itself, so I don't actually need to modify that. Okay, so constructors are done. Game states are done. Managers are next. So I've just got item stay down.constructors.item. I'm gonna eventually be pulling more stuff into this, so I will still convert this. Let's do const constructors item equals stay down. Get rid of this. Save, refresh, see if everything still works. It should. I should be able to collect that item. It already would have broken if it wasn't the case. So that works. Let's go over here, platform. We'll do const constructors platform equals stay down without an L. All right, getting rid of that. Save, refresh, everything works. Then we have controller. So here's one where we can do some modifications. The only thing I'm passing in is window, which is stupid. I really need to look up why the articles I read online were saying that this was a good idea to do. I don't know why. You have, in code, it looks exactly the same. Like, I don't need to pass window in here. So I'm not going to. And we'll see what we get. I mean, why should that make much of a difference? And honestly, the only time window is even being called is inside of the activate function, because it uses add event listener to, you know, do the key listening and stuff like that. So I don't really think I need a local copy of window inside of this anonymous function call. It just doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Cleaning up, just doing some cleanup. Engine.js, let's see what we have here. Again, I'm pulling in window, and I don't think I need it. So I'm going to come in and get rid of it. Let's take a look here. It's cool that you can do a fixed step game loop in such a small amount of code. Let's go ahead and save that, refresh. Everything's still looking good and working fine. This is the other place. I should have actually did this first, because this actually is a little different and it's useful. So inside of the initialize function of the stay down object, I am saying, I'm using a lot of the this keyword, and it just, I don't like the way it looks. Like, it just looks messy to me. So if you don't feel like typing this dot in front of all of your, what is it called, privileged properties and methods, I don't know if that's what it's called, but all of the properties and methods on the object that you're writing code for, if you're referencing it, this, you're going to use this keyword. So if you don't want to do that, just do const, let's see, we've got controller. Let's see what we actually have up here. Oh yeah, a lot of stuff I won't even be able to see on the object because I'm like defining it, I'm like injecting it with these anonymous function calls here. So this file, when it gets parsed in with everything else, is actually injecting the controller property into the stay down global object. So let's go back to stay down. Pretty sure we're just doing controller. All right, so we've got controller, we've got display, we've got output. What else do we got? Engine, there we go, and the run game state. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say states run equals this. So I'm literally just defining local constants to pull everything out of the this parent object. So now I can go through here and I can get rid of this and make this code look a lot cleaner to read, because this just looks, all of these thises everywhere, they're just confusing. I would rather have this block of code up here than have to look at all of these different thises inside of my function. So let's go ahead and get rid of these. And this, I don't even need this anymore. I'm just gonna do run. So I can just, right there, just cut to the chase. And engine.start, resize. I haven't tried it with a function yet. So let's see if I can make it work with a function. Resize. I have not tried that yet, but this will be interesting. And then window.addEventListener, resize, and resize. Save. It's probably gonna break. Didn't break. Everything still works. All right, let's see if the resize method works. The resize method works, and the way I know it works is because this P element up here in the top left is moving. If you watched the last video, I think, part 8, that's where we did that. All right, so rewrite's complete, edit's done. This is a short video. Just wanted to utilize destructuring in the code to clean it up a little bit. Like I said, the next video is probably going to be something to do with either like the title screen game state, and if I do that, I'm probably going to add like a full screen method, like a toggle to make it full screen and make it not full screen. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, that'll do it. Just gotta sign out. See ya.